So the other day, I was walking with this young guy. He's in his 20s. We were just catching up and just having just normal conversation about life and what he's doing. And then he asks this question. He pops the question that I did not expect him to ask. And that was, Father Jaime, what is the charism of the Legionaries of Christ? And in my mind, in my heart, the question arose, which I didn't ask him this, but I'm like, you've been with us for so long, you've known us for so long, and you've never been given that answer. Actually, sorry, I did ask him that question. I said, hey, you've been with us for so long, you didn't ever get an answer. Has anyone ever given you? And he's like, yeah, maybe, I think so, but I don't know. I just wanted to hear from you. Like, can you explain it? And so I did. And then fast forward months later, I'm having this conversation about vocations with my community. And we're talking about how well do people really know the Legionaries of Christ right now? What do we do? Because we're here, we're present, I'm alive. I look like a priest. I act like one. I minister as a Legionary of Christ here in the Archdiocese of New Orleans, Louisiana. And there's a lot of things we're involved with. We work with a lot of parishes, a lot of schools. But then when someone asks, what is your charism? I know they don't want a canonical explanation. They just want to know, what do you do that makes you special? That gives you your identity. Like when you say Legionary of Christ, I know exactly what they do. I know their spirit. I feel that, and I can just partake in that. And so I just decided, I'm like, today on this video, I'm going to tell you in my own words what the Legionaries do. Okay, this is not meant to be a canonical class. This is not meant to be the official statement of the Legionaries of Christ for the world to hear. It is just me trying to express what I've been living and what I know and what I believe to be our spirituality, our charism, and I just want you to understand. So if this helps you, great. And if you have questions, comment below. But it's helped me. It's helped this guy. I've explained it many times to many people, and they get it, right? And so I want to start by saying the charism that comprises an institute or a group. A charism means gift, right? A gift means God has given this particular special, unique something. Okay, when I say something, it's a group of different realities that he bestows on a person or on a group to enrich his church and help the church get to heaven in this specific way. And you're asking, okay, what is that something that's so generic? Well, it's three things. It's three things that I see comprise or make up the charism. Three main things, and then things you can add more stuff to it. But three essential things. One is spirituality. Right? Spirituality, I would say, is the core. Like, how do we express our Catholic faith in this particular group? What kind of prayers do we do? What are the main themes that accompany our prayer? What are things we preach about? What are things that motivate us in our prayer? What are the special practices and traditions that we do? Because not everyone's the same. We have the minimal bar of Mass and confession and the sacraments and things that every single Catholic is called to do. But then above that, there are all these different nuances and popular piety and traditions and things that do enrich the church. Right? And so spirituality, right? There's a specific way in which a group or a person lives spirituality. The second is the way of life. So a way of life can also mean rule of life, like things that we commit to, our vows, the way we express our religious life, right? It's also there. You have the Legionaries are not what we call lay priests or secular priests or diocesan priests. The Legionaries of Christ are a religious order. And a religious order means that they take vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. They live in fraternal life, right? They have community. They live in communities, and then they have a religious habit. They have a uniform, right? It's not just free for all. And the third, so you have, remember, spirituality, way of life / rule of life. The third is mission. How do we mission? And when people ask charism, what's your charism? They don't ask, what they're looking for is not necessarily spirituality. It's not usually the way of life. They think of mission, meaning what does your group have, or what does your group do that builds up our Catholic family? What do you do that we can say you are a value to our universal church? That you're not just some random group that has nothing to contribute to the church. What is it? What is the value that you want to offer, that your group offers to the church? And so I'm going to touch on those three things. And just so you remember, this is not complete. This is not perfect. This is me in my own experience. And also I'm going to read off some of the documents that we have so that you understand. And so when you say this is the Legionary of Christ, this is what he does. And if you're a young man discerning religious life or missionary life, and you're feeling like, hey, the Legionaries have something, hopefully this helps you. So I'm going to start backwards. Okay, spirituality, way of life, mission. I'm going to start backwards. The mission. So I'm going to read. So the Legionaries of Christ we have a document called the Constitutions of the Legionaries of Christ. Religious orders are required by canon law to be approved to have their constitutions, which is really the rule of the order. And within the rule, kind of the numbers that are here give us our identity, our direction, our focus, and our charism, right? And so number 4, I'm going to read this. Number 4 of the constitutions of the Legionaries of Christ, it says, in their mission of forming apostles, Christian leaders at the service of the church, legionaries make present the mystery of Christ, gathering the apostles around him, revealing to them the love of his heart, forming them and sending them out to collaborate with him in building up his kingdom. That's the first part. And so what do legionaries do? They form apostles who are Christian leaders at the service of the church. We form apostles. Our job is to take you from pew to mission, from receiving to giving, from being a disciple to actually being an apostle. We're trained to guide you there. Yes. Is the church called to launch missionary disciples and apostles? Yes. But our focus, our expertise, our bread and butter, things we think about every single day, is how to take you from little disciple you to amazing apostle you. And that's what we think every day. How do we make that happen, right? And it says, consequently, legionaries should bring others, there's 3, bring others to live out their baptismal calling to the full by fostering the spiritual growth, formation, and apostolic outreach of men and women, among them, the Regnum Christi members. We'll get to that in a second. Second, establish together with them institutions and undertake actions that most contribute in depth and extent to building up the kingdom of Christ in society. So it's establishing these projects and institutions and more, I guess, well-founded means by which the kingdom of God is established, right? So like schools, getting involved with parishes, charity organizations, all these things. Third, exercise the pastoral ministry principally in the field of spreading the faith, education, evangelization of the family, of culture, and of the media. Youth work, clergy formation, and the promotion of justice, charity, and solidarity with the neediest, along with the spiritual care and formation of the Regnum Christi Associates. So, sorry, that's a lot of words. All of that, you can actually just Google Constitutions of the Legionaries of Christ. All of that points towards forming apostles, Christian leaders at the service of the church. So you may ask, Father Jaime, what do you do when you're out of ministry? What is your purpose? Why do you do what you do? So if you want, check out the channel. All the videos that are prior to this are all the things that I have done within my jurisdiction of the New Orleans Archdiocese and neighboring dioceses. Retreats, leadership programs, youth ministries, helping with parishes, giving talks, giving retreats to adults, collaborating with youth ministers, with pastors, and creating all these opportunities in which I, as a legionary priest, can guide people as a shepherd and as a priest and as an apostle, guide someone from disciple to apostle. That's everything I do. Anything that I might do that has nothing to do with that, I kind of stay away from, unless it's duty, or just being part of my human reality, right? Leisure, family, rest, other side hobbies, right? But for the most part, that's our mission, right? That's the mission. I mentioned Regnum Christi because Regnum Christi. This could be a topic for another video, or I put a link below to a video I did on ECYD Charism, which is the youth organization of Regnum Christi, and Regnum Christi is the main spiritual body, the spiritual family, which the Legionaries of Christ are a part of. Okay, I probably should make a video about that too, or you can just Google it, or go to regnumchristi.org and you'll see everything about Regnum Christi. But the Regnum Christi charism, the Regnum Christi mission, right, says, to fulfill our mission, we seek to make present the mystery of Christ who goes out to people, reveals the love of his heart to them, gathers them together, and forms them as apostles and Christian leaders, sends them out and accompanies them as they collaborate in the evangelization of people and of society. Regnum Christi, which is a spiritual movement, more canonically known as a federation, is comprised of Legionaries of Christ priests, consecrated men, consecrated women, and lay associated faithful. That's kind of a very technical term, but lay members. And then the ECYD youth organization, which is attached to that. All of us combined are called to mission in the same direction, right? What I just read to you, it's to go out to all men and women, to reveal Christ's heart, to gather them as apostles and to gather them, to form them as Christian apostles, and to send them out and accompany them as they collaborate together to evangelize the world. And so all these people within the Regnum Christi family are called to a similar mission, and the Legionaries live that out. We live that out, but as priests, through our vocation as religious priests, religious missionary priests. And so that means we can go anywhere in the world. We serve Regnum Christi, we serve the local church, but we're always seeking to form apostles. And we want to launch you out there. We want to just do what we can to guide you to evangelize the world. Okay. As priests, so we talked about mission. Second, as priests, we have a particular way of life, right? So the way of life that is common to all Regnum Christi members is what we call 5 elements, right? There's a way of life that all Regnum Christi members share, from the men, the women, the priests, to lay people, consecrated men, women, even the ECYD. There are 5 elements. A way in which we live our prayer and sacraments, our team life or community life, formation, apostolate, and accompaniment. Okay? The Legionaries of Christ have a particular way of life as religious priests in which we live those 5 elements. Prayer and sacraments, we live our priestly duties, daily mass, daily prayer of the breviary. We have a holy hour of meditation every day. We have rosary every day, the Angelus 3 times a day. We have a midday and evening examination of conscience. We have a 30-minute night prayer with adoration every night. And we have a weekly special extra holy hour on Thursdays. We have Saturday devotions to Mary. And then we have retreats. And then every year we do a week-long spiritual exercises. Every so often we do a month-long spiritual exercises. That's a lot, right? And anything else that adds to that. But that's kind of the way we pray. That's our sacramental life. And as often as we can do it in community, the better. So that's the second, right? Community life. So we live in community. We live as religious life requires. We live together. And we have a house rule, right? We have a community rule that is both established by the higher ups, but also us in a local level. We work together as priests. We try to collaborate with each other as much as we can. Accompaniment, another element there, is we value spiritual direction. We value to be accompanied, right, by constant spiritual direction. A trust in our superiors, right? We have a vow of obedience, right? We also have, with our vows of poverty and chastity, along with obedience, it is a gift of self to the church and to our communities. Where poverty, we don't own anything. Obedience, we obey. we're ready to obey and be sent wherever we need to go. And chastity, where we don't have a family, we live a celibate life, and we live to the vow, chastity, right? And formation, we have intense formation, and mission, right? So those 5 elements, we live all that together. That's our way of life. A little backtrack on formation, I forgot to say, is that our formation is long. The Legionaries of Christ formation, because of our we'll get to that in a second, our deep spirituality and love for our church, is that we have a very intentional and pretty serious formation path, where we have, just to lay it out there, you can rewind and watch this again if you want to know this. We do 2 years of novitiate. We start as novices, where we are studying spirituality and just learning the ways of prayer in a spiritual life. And then we do 2 years of humanities studies, where it's an added thing which a lot of orders don't do, or most don't do, but it's basically 2 years of culture education, right? History, art, music. It's really allowing our men to actually understand what culture really is and what makes up culture, and to be able to read that, appreciate that, value that, so that we can take what culture gives us and sanctify it and Christianize it, right? And so humanities, so that's 4 years. And then we do 3 years of philosophy studies, which is a requirement by the church, right? To study philosophies, to understand how the world works, how man operates, and how to read the world, how to understand the way the human side of life works, how we think, how we love, our emotions, logic, the different philosophical theories or influences over history, over time. And then we do 2 or 3 years of what we call apostolic internship, where we're sent out to mission as a brother, as a legionary brother. They call us brothers before we're priests, to mission anywhere in the world. So it's a really crazy experience where we do all our studies in Rome for the most part. And from Rome, after philosophy, everyone gets a surprise assignment anywhere in the world, and they send us out. It's like, go. And that's so awesome, right? We get to experience that sending out as apostles to anywhere in the world to live out our mission, to form Christian leaders and apostles. once that experience is done, which is very, very powerful, we come back to seminary and we live 3 more years studying theology, which is the study of God and His church. And once theology is done, then we're ordained to the diaconate and then to the priesthood, and then we're sent here. So that's 12 years or so. So that is the way of life. It's pretty intense as religious life. If you want to know more, there's a lot more that goes with it. And the third thing I want to share today is spirituality. So what is the spirituality of the Legionaries? Because we spoke about mission, right? We go out and we want to form Christian leaders and apostles. We want to do that in the way that religious priests live within the spiritual family of Regnum Christi, whose mission is the same. And we have the same 5 elements that kind of guide our way of life, right? Prayer and the sacraments, team life, formation, accompaniment, and apostolate. But there's a deeper, now we're going to the why, right? The very core of who we are, the spirituality of the Legionaries of Christ. Okay. There's a lot in there, but I'm going to mention a few that kind of make the spirituality stand out so you can understand it. The first is Legionaries of Christ. So the 2 main words there, legionaries and Christ. The first thing, legionaries, there is a sense of militancy. There's a sense of just an organized, I don't know, battalion, like God's army. The legionaries, the name legion really brings out this spirit of discipline, of dedication, of hard work, of intense formation, as I said, of a passionate zeal for the church. We do embrace the cross a lot. Like we love, like I'm sorry, we are all called to embrace the cross, but in a special way, we are men who are trained to endure and to fight for Christ. And it's not for everybody. It's hard, right? Yeah, it's not an easy path, but we're there, and we work together. We're structured. We're determined. And of Christ, Legionaries of Christ, Christ is at the center of our life. Christ is our King, right? We celebrate the feast of Christ the King with all our hearts, but we also parallel that with the Sacred Heart, because the first big chunk of our spirituality is what we call the contemplative and evangelizing spirit. Think about, if you've heard this before, the ora et labora of Saint Benedict, work and prayer, pray and work. Well, we took that and kind of intensified it. We kind of legionarized it a little bit more, where it's not just prayer, but it's like deep contemplative life, but matched or merged with evangelizing, right? Back in the day, we actually called it conquering, right? But to make it more part of our Regnum Christi family, I guess, we changed it to evangelizing, which kind of has that sense of real mission. It's not just working. Ora et labora, it's Latin for pray and work. But for us, it's like we contemplate and we go and evangelize. We go and we conquer the world for Jesus. We go and we're just passionately dedicated to forming Christian leaders and to bring people closer to Christ and launching them as apostles. That's a huge part of our spirituality. Hence, we have Christ the King as the evangelizing side and Sacred Heart as our contemplative side. Interesting enough that we also have kind of the joint devotions to Mary. We have Our Lady of Sorrows, which kind of matches with Sacred Heart, and we have Mary, Queen of Apostles, which kind of matches Christ the King. So all of that together comprises kind of the core of who we are, right? There are virtues that the legionaries try to live more than anything else, right? One is love for the Eucharist and love for the cross, right? We were taught this from the very beginning. We are men who are invited and called and trained and formed to stay at the foot of the tabernacle, We're men who love just to be in front of the Blessed Sacrament. We promote adoration. We love adoration. We love Holy Hour. We love the Mass. We promote that. If you've seen a legionary priest celebrate Mass, it's ingrained in us, right? To take our time to pray the Mass. We are also men of the cross. So we are demanding on ourselves. We're sometimes demanding on others. We are ready to sacrifice. We love to go on mission, right? Discomfort is not foreign to us, and we willingly just take that on, right? Another part of our spirituality is that we like to say we are in step with the church. We are faithful to the church's doctrine. You might ask, Father, are you all conservative or liberal? I'm like, we are part of our Holy Mother Church, and we love her, and we are faithful to her doctrines. So we don't take any side, really. I mean, why would you if you want to just be faithful to the church, faithful to the Pope's teachings, faithful to magisterium, faithful to tradition from beginning to now, right? And we trust. We don't overinterpret. We don't take sides. We're just there. And it's hard to say that because people can say so many things, and you might think many things, but we just want to be faithful, right? A fidelity to the church, into our magisterium, into our doctrine. So that's our spirituality. Our spirituality is very deep in that sense. Christ-centeredness is a big one. And so all of that, spirituality, way of life, mission, when you clump that all together, that is our charism. Okay, you might be like, Father, how long has it been? Father, you've been speaking for almost 30 minutes. What is that all about? Like, can you explain yourself more? Like, can you simplify it? Okay, all of that is a deep explanation, if it helps you, of one phrase. If you were to ask me now, Father, can you sum up everything you said in one phrase? Yes. The Legionaries of Christ are religious missionary priests who go out to form Christian leaders and apostles, to send them out and accompany them to the very end to establish Christ's kingdom in society. Period. And if you want proof of that, it's there, online, everywhere, everything we do. Think of everything we do. Look at everything we do. Everything I post on social media, on these videos. If none of those things that we do correspond to what I just said in this last line, then let me know and I'll adjust. But for the most part, that's what it is. And so, my friends, if you are a young man, or you know of a young man who desires to do what we do, who desires a demanding, determined, dedicated, passionate, priestly life, that is ready to leave home, to be a missionary anywhere in the world, to be an apostle, to evangelize the world and establish the kingdom, to live in community, to work with other vocations within the Regnum Christi movement, consecrated men, women, lay, work with our ECYD youth organization, where we as a huge, an army of God, want to form Christian leaders to evangelize this world, or to re-evangelize this world. Please don't hesitate. Consider. Send me a message. Google Legionaries of Christ. We have a lot of stuff out there that you're able to just sign up for more information, or go on a retreat, or just reach out. Because yes, I am launching the nets today. Okay, I'm not getting any younger, and the world's getting more aggressive, and our young people are suffering. Families are in need of people, I think, like us, who are able to just dedicate their lives to this specific mission. And hopefully, Yes, I pray that God sends laborers to his harvest. Hopefully, there's someone out there watching this right now that feels the same thing that I feel and loves what I love. Because I don't want to believe, I don't want to even think that I'm the only one, or we're just a few. And I'm going to do my part in sharing this mission, in sharing this charism, and telling the world about it over and over and over again till I die. Because this is why I'm here. I'm here. Christ called me to this. And yeah, I will not stop. I will not stop till the very end. So, God bless you, and we'll see you next time whenever I get to upload another video, even if it's months later. So, thank you so much, and God bless you.